Hi there, and welcome to a special episode of Chat EbT. I'm your host, Ebrahim Tayob. Now, as you can see, we're not in studio today. We're actually on site to shoot a very special episode with a very special guest. BYD is one of the world's most innovating companies when it comes to electric mobility and clean energy. They're expanding their footprint all over Africa, specifically with regards to South Africa. And today, we get to chat to the man that stands on the front lines of that expansion. Please help me in welcoming to Chat EbT, the Managing Director of BYD South Africa, Mr. Steve Chang. Steve, thanks so much for joining us, man.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here. Thank you.
No, it's our pleasure. So, Steve, just so the viewers can get a little bit of an insight, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and your position at BYD.
So obviously, Steve Chang is my name. Been here in South Africa, living in South Africa for about 35 years.
Okay.
So I came here quite young, going through all the good and bad in South Africa. After university, I joined property development company. And with that, I had the opportunity to engage with solar generation, power generation project. Okay. And from there, I found BYD. And I've been with BYD now almost 7 years.
Okay.
Starting with a renewable energy project, and later on venture into public mobility. We have now almost finished a project in Cape Town with Golden Arrow.
Golden Arrow.
Golden Arrow, and it's 120 buses. It's the largest electric bus fleet in Africa.
Excellent.
And we have proven the business case, which means the financial model works. And we will see more and more of company in South Africa on the public sector to switch their diesel buses into electric buses.
No, that's excellent.
Yeah, and now next step is venture into the passenger vehicle market. BYD Auto South Africa started our passenger vehicle business from 2024. And then since then we start to grow the business. We brought in initially with battery electric vehicles, which the market acceptance is quite slow. As you and I know that South Africa has suffered about 4 to 5 years of load shedding.
Yes.
I still remember the day that I told my family about bringing electric vehicles into South Africa. They all say to me, "Are you mad? Are you mad? We don't even have power in South Africa." And I told them that, you know what, BYD, BYD's culture, it's a little bit about madness. If you look at if you Google and look at the biography of our chairman, he's the first person in China decided to switching from ICE into electric vehicles.
Oh, wow.
Because BYD, our core technology is battery.
Yes.
Yeah. And in those days, China is very dependent on import oils, just like South Africa. So for them to detach from the dependence on the oil supply, the only way is to change the energy usage of our mobility.
Yeah,
so changing from ICE to e-mobility it's a decision not just for the industry. It's a very big step for the nation. So I'm seeing into the future as South Africa that we are also very oil dependent. 60% of our oil is imported. I think more and more as South African government engaging with BYD and seeing that we are now trying our best to lower the entry point of purchasing an electric vehicle or even a plug-in hybrid vehicle. I think we're creating another market. Untapped market, what we call a blue ocean, into the future. Yeah.
No, that's brilliant. And I think definitely you guys are addressing definitely big concerns that are across the nation, especially with regards to electronic vehicles. Before we get into all of that, so you took over the reins here in South Africa, right? What was your vision when you stepped into that role? And over the years, has that vision changed or evolved in any way?
No, I think the reason why it's so exciting working for BYD and bringing BYD's technology. BYD essentially is not a car company. We are a technology company and an innovation company. Just when you started the opening line, BYD is strong electronics, in battery, in solar generation, and we also have a business unit that we're doing railing. So BYD is a very, very big company, global international company. We are top 91 on the Global 500. So BYD BYD, this name might be new for South African consumers or the audience, So BYD is a very strong name in the global stage. And in terms of our vision, South Africa is always lacking or behind compared to the global trend.
Yeah.
If you look at electric vehicles and plug-in hybrid vehicles, if you look at Europe, for example, South African consumers are mostly follow the European consumers' footsteps.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
But if you look at mobility or vehicles or cars, in terms of new energy vehicles, the concept of new energy vehicle for South African consumer is about 5 to 6 years behind European market. In South Africa, we still look at new energy vehicles as your mild hybrid.
Yes,
You know,
100%.
or your traditional hybrids. Whereas in Europe, in other countries, when they classify new energy vehicles, it's your plug-in hybrids and your battery electric vehicles.
Yeah.
So that's the space we want to develop. And we see a huge opportunity in the South African market. It takes time. As you and I know, that South African customer takes longer to make their purchasing decisions.
And get trust in the product.
Yes, get trust in the product. And we have that tendency that, this is new. Let him try first.
Yeah,
And we'll see what's the outcome. Yeah, so that is the tendency of the South African customers. But we must not forget, South African customers are very resilient. We are a bunch of people that we solve problems. You know, South Africa is a country with some problems, and we as citizens of South Africa, we always try our best to resolve the problem the best as we can. So I see a big potential for the South African customer to adapt the new technology, which complement with their solar installations, battery installations that they already have in their household.
Yeah.
So bringing EV, bringing in plug-in hybrid vehicles into South Africa, it closed the ecosystem. It actually complement what we have now in the market.
No, I definitely feel like it was needed here in South Africa because, as you mentioned, the world is sort of going in that direction, and there has to be a particular reason why everybody is going in that direction. And I think I agree with you. South Africa has been a little bit, behind the curve with that. But I'm glad to see that we sort of catching up in our own way.
With BYD in South Africa, we're definitely catching up.
No, brilliant. I'm glad you mentioned the load shedding, right? So load shedding is, the most scary word in South Africa, right? Now, obviously, with a lot of people, and in personal discussions that I've had when looking at, purchasing an electronic vehicle, one of the things that always comes up is, well, what are you going to do during load shedding, right? As I understand, you guys are working quite actively with Eskom to address that concern. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So basically, we have a lot of discussion with Eskom, and then obviously we also, as a company, we also work in this path very carefully. But as you can see, as South African citizens, you can see that we hadn't had load shedding for almost a year now.
Yeah. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood, yes, knock on wood. But I think we're seeing quite a good progress right now with Eskom. They're fixing up the grid. I think the grid is more stable now. We have to understand there's challenges in South Africa, but when you're starting, I always like to tell my employees that joined our offices right now, I say BYD globally very big, but in South Africa we are like a startup company.
Yeah.
When you start something new in the environment, you have to go through hardships and hurdles.
No, my dad called it paying school fees.
Paying school fees, yes, yeah. So I think Eskom spent a lot of time and energy to rectify some of the shortcomings, in the past, and we can see there's a very good progress right now. I personally, because I'm in the industry, always following up on what's happening with Eskom, with our grid, what is the total capacity of solar installation from the utility scale that's being installed, what are the battery storage on the large storage project that's being installed in South Africa. So we're definitely moving into the right direction at a faster speed right now. So I think not just BYD, if you Google, lots of other companies are entering into South Africa, and they all coming with new energy vehicles. But as BYD, we decide to move in faster. We came into the market 3 years before other people. So I think we definitely have that first mover advantage in South Africa.
Yeah, 100%. So one of the other concerns that obviously comes up a lot, right, is what they call range anxiety, right? So obviously, I think we've done very well in South Africa in strategically placing fuel stations all across the country, right? Obviously, there is that concern with regards to electronic vehicles, like if you're doing a really long journey, how do you break it up? Where are you going to charge your car, and so on and so forth. Is BYD looking at potentially partnering with some of these big motor oil company franchises to integrate and perhaps install charging stations at already existing fuel sites?
Yes, most definitely. So basically, obviously, you know that we had an MOU signed with Eskom. It's quite a big news. I mean, this is the first time in South Africa that one automotive company signed an MOU with Eskom, and we didn't sign with Eskom for anything else, but we focus on the electricity tariff. We have to understand that, like you mentioned, with our charging infrastructures, there's quite a lot of them already on the road. The utilization of this charging infrastructure is not high, for two reasons. First of all, there's not enough cars on the road.
Yeah. Okay.
Second of all, the tariff is very high. So in South Africa, if you want to pay to charge on a DC charger, which is a fast charger, we call fast charger, the rate is between 7 Rand to 7 Rand 50 cents per kilowatt hour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I can see what you mean.
Yeah, for AC, which is our slow charger, or we call it home charger, the rate is between 5 Rand to 5 Rand 50 cents per kilowatt hour. So if I take my car, 90% of our customers who buy the product from us charge at home, where they pay 3 Rand a kilowatt hour.
Yeah.
So you see there's a big price difference per each kilowatt hour you put into the car. So the reason why we signed an MOU with Eskom is that we want to dive into a deep conversation with Eskom to successively lower the charging tariff so that the utilization of the public charger gets increased.
Okay,
right?
I see what you mean, yeah.
And then with Eskom, we can tell them where are our customers' is.
Yes.
We can direct with them. With Eskom's help, we can put the chargers where needed. Coming back to the highways and the petrol stations, in a lot of petrol stations, there's no power connections.
Okay, yes.
So they need power connections to do the charger. So what BYD's technology comes in is that we're coming with a charger, with batteries, and with solar, plus Eskom's feed. So we don't need a huge feed from Eskom because we have our technology with solar, with battery, with charger. We can make this national highway charging station rollout quicker, smoother, and more economical for Eskom. So those are the talking point we were discussing with them as we speak.
No, that's brilliant. And is there something that the oil companies can then do to adapt or improve their infrastructure to be able to accommodate your charging stations?
Yes, obviously, we'll definitely dive into that point with these petroleum companies or petrol station owners. But the first person we need to work together to form a relationship, alliance, and also understand the technical requirement is Eskom themselves.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes. Once we clarify the requirements, then we can very quickly roll out, because each petrol station will have certain power supply already. We just have to understand how much we need to get from Eskom to make that site ready for us, and how much battery, how much solar panel we need to put it together. So it's like a all-in-one type of solution to increase the rollout speed. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
We spoke a little bit, obviously, about stepping into the market in South Africa, and obviously you mentioned that there's been a slower uptake in that market, right? So focusing a little bit on the South African market.
Yes.
So we see that the automotive industry, especially with regards to motor vehicle plants, does have a lot of job creation here in South Africa, specifically with places like Port Elizabeth, with places like Roslyn, right? With BYD aggressively entering the market, how are you going to address that sort of concern that there might be a little bit of a drop-off in job creation as your market share increases here in South Africa?
Many people ask me this question. So the answer is quite simple. I think we need to look at from an investment and return on investment point of view. It's a very big investment to come and set up a plant to manufacture cars, to build cars, right? If you look at the overall sales right now for BEV and plug-in hybrid altogether, this year South Africa is looking at about 3,000 vehicles in total nationally towards to the end of the year. Where I can very proudly say that up to end of September, obviously we haven't released our stats with NAMSA, but up to end of September, I think we are number one in BEV and also number one in PHEV. We'll soon release the data with NAMSA, which is trying to, how can I say it, trying to relocate our resources because we are very busy with our expansion. BYD expands so quickly in South Africa, like you can't believe it. It's just too much work to be done. So we will slowly release our data to NAMSA, but I think in terms of building the factories and creating jobs, it has to do with investment and return on investment.
No, 100%.
You can't come and start building a factory where the entire nation's volume is sitting on 3,000 units.
Yeah, the demand obviously needs to be there.
Yes. So we need to increase the demand first, then we can slowly look into the localization part. But definitely, when the demands are starting to show that curve, hopefully it's the hockey stick curve, and then we'll definitely relook at the localization, for South Africa.
Brilliant. Now you mentioned, BYD is rapidly expanding. I think one of the big causes of that is obviously your dealerships, which are, I understand, planning on tripling by next year, right? So what opportunities are there for entrepreneurs that want to get involved in, say, dealerships and so on and so forth, and partner with BYD in this expansion? What are the opportunities for the entrepreneurs in South Africa?
So obviously, I only started bringing the passenger vehicle into South Africa, and for the past 2.5 years, we have seen that South Africa has a very unique and also very well-established dealer network.
Yes.
So when we decide to enter into the market, we've been speaking to all the players in the dealer network, and then there's an application process that we offered online to people. People can do the application process. Obviously, there's an evaluation process because people buying cars, they think buying cars is quite simple, but the management, the after-sales services, how to maintain the branding awareness and all that, the financing, the floor plan, there's a lot of things involved. So we welcome new entrepreneurs coming to the market. Of course, South Africa is all about land of opportunity, as you and I know, right? So there is a process people can go through, submit an application, go through an evaluation process, but there is minimum requirement and also understanding experience in the industry. So those things all taken into part whether the candidate can become a successful candidate with our BYD network.
You mentioned the after sales service, right? That actually is very, very interesting because I think one of the big concerns that most users have, especially when looking at imported cars, right, is parts availability. And I think there's always that conversation that, oh yeah, that's a great car, but if something happens, you might wait 6 months to, get your bumper fixed, right? So obviously, there is that concern with BYD as well, importing vehicles. How do you guys sort of combat that, mitigate rather that risk?
So the answer is very easy. You must have parts available.
Brilliant.
You must make the part available. So our chairman has a saying. So in one of the meetings, he said to all of us, says that no matter what we do, before we launch a car in any country, any market, if the part is not there, a month before the launch, you can't launch the car. So just to give you an example, so we have initially we had a 3,800 square meter part warehouse, not far from Sandton. Now we're expanding the warehouse from 3,500 to 8,000 square meters. Yeah.
Okay.
Because BYD has expanded our model range from 3 last year. This year we add 4. So now we have 7 models in this country.
Excellent.
Yeah, from 3 to 7 in 1 year.
I got to say though, I absolutely love the design. I'm a big fan of the screen in the car. I think that's fascinating, by the way. So well done.
The rotating
screen.
Yes,
I saw it and I was
yes,
like,
yes.
I actually recently purchased the car, and when I saw that, I was like, oh man, that should have been the one.
Don't worry, it's still a chance.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. As BYD expands into South Africa, as we mentioned, right? And obviously, as I mentioned at the beginning, you're on the front lines of sort of that expansion. If we had to go 5 or 10 years into the future, and if you had to look back, what for you would have made this expansion a success?
Obviously, the proper dealer network, because you have a proper network, you can service your customers. In South Africa, it's all about customer-centric. You know, although we South Africans, but we like to enjoy the first-class service experience like the European countries.
Yeah.
So customer. Need to look after the customer. Second thing is that need to bring the new technology to South Africa. It's very important for us to see that whatever we're paying here, we enjoy the same technology, the same innovation from Asia, from Europe. It must be the latest technology. You cannot be spending the same amount of money, but buying a technology that's 5 years old. That cannot happen here.
No,
Yeah.
I agree,
Yes,
definitely.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of a tradition on this podcast where we ask the same questions to every guest towards the end of the interview, and it's very, very fascinating to see the different responses that we get, right?
Yeah.
So the first question is, what message would you like the viewers to take away from this interview here today?
So for the viewers, I think my message for your takeaway is that I don't know if you remember what happened to Kodak.
No.
What happened to Nokia?
Okay, I'm getting your trend now.
That's the message I'm sending to the customers. So before you're making your purchase decision, remember what happened to Kodak and what happened to Nokia. We are now standing at the crossroad. So do you want to experience what is coming into the future? Experience what the new technology can transfer your user experience and use the new technology for different applications. Now is the time. You're spending the same amount of money, but you are experiencing the new tech where other people are using it in other countries. I think that's very important for the customer.
Fully agree.
Yeah.
I always love referencing Steve Jobs, you know,
Yes.
and his core saying is never stop innovating. And I think that kind of covers what you just said. And then you mentioned Nokia, and I always love this story. I'm sure you've heard it, where the Nokia CEO said, we've done nothing wrong, and yet we lost. And that's just because of the failure of innovation, as we mentioned.
Yes. Yeah.
No, brilliant. One of the other traditions we have
Another
is
tradition.
So we're full of traditions.
Yes.
So a previous guest, right? The last guest leaves a question for the next guest, not knowing who the next guest is or what the next guest does, right? So your question is, throughout your career, what has been the most fundamental lesson you've learned, and how has that shaped your career going forward?
So again, the viewer.
Yeah.
For the past 35 years living in South Africa, I think one very important lesson this country have taught me is perseverance. If you want to be successful in doing anything, you have to continue trying, especially in this continent. Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
So lastly, what's next? What's next for BYD, and what's next for Steve?
Just like what we talk about, innovations. So in BYD, we have close to 1 million employees globally.
Brilliant.
1 million people. Out of the 1 million people, we have 120,000 R&D engineers, 120,000. So BYD is all about innovation. So to stay in front of the line, keep on innovating, keep on bringing solution to new problems, keep on being, like our chairman's famous sentence, innovations bringing better life.
Really, I love that.
Yeah.
And I actually watched a previous interview with your CEO where they mentioned, I think it was something like through your innovations, you guys are producing something like 50 to 60 patents a day.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
We do about 50 applications, and then we register I think close to 30 to 40 a day. So we keep on renovating, keep on innovating, keep on innovating. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Steve, I can't tell you what a pleasure this has been. Thank you so much for joining us on this very special episode. And I think I can personally speak for all the viewers when I say we really look forward to seeing what you and BYD do in the future for South Africa.
Thank you.
Very happy to look around, be along for the ride.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
No, my pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, that's our show. As I mentioned, thank you so much for joining us on a very special episode of Chat EbT. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join the conversation. Until next time.